mynews.studio.
Children in remote Amazon villages are playing hygiene games, not just for entertainment, but as part of a global initiative that's reduced the risk of blinding trachoma by 94%. So how close are we to ending one of humanity's oldest diseases?
Today is February 11th, 2026. The figures are really striking. Since 2002, the number of people at risk of trachoma fell from 1.5 billion to just over 97 million. That's a 94% drop. But what actually made that happen?
The main driver has been the SAFE strategy: surgery, antibiotics, facial cleanliness, and environmental improvement. Each part breaks a different link in the disease's chain. For instance, surgery is for people already facing blindness, known as trachomatous trichiasis, or TT. In 2023, more than 130,000 people with TT received help across 38 countries, and 70% of them were women. Now, why such a gender gap? It's often because women, as primary caregivers, are more exposed.
And antibiotics have been key too, right? Pfizer donated over 1 billion doses of azithromycin. In 2023 alone, nearly 34 million people received antibiotics, though that's down from almost 65 million 2 years earlier. Is that decline actually a positive sign, or is it risky?
It's a bit of both. Fewer treatments are needed as the disease becomes less common, but the decrease is also linked to some supply issues with the antibiotics. If the supply chain is disrupted, there's a real risk of the disease returning. That's why the environmental and hygiene parts of SAFE are so important: clean water, improved sanitation, and teaching about face washing. For example, in Peru, infection rates reach nearly 50% in communities without proper sanitation.
So in Colombia, these educational approaches, like the fluorescent marker game for kids, actually shifted hygiene habits. Are these culturally tailored efforts as crucial as the medical treatments?
Definitely. Approaches that come from within the community often have lasting impact, where outside interventions might not stick. Take Ethiopia, which carries 59% of the global burden, over 61 million at risk. There, the focus has been on mass antibiotic campaigns and TT surgeries. Last year, they treated 22 million people and dealt with nearly 100,000 TT cases. But is that enough for high-burden areas?
Maybe not, especially with almost $300 million in funding gaps for the final stage. Surgeries, antibiotics, surveys, and research all need resources. And if antibiotic donations become less certain, how do programs keep moving forward?
It's challenging. Another issue is access. The most difficult places to reach: remote villages, areas without clean water, places affected by conflict, are where trachoma holds on. In the Americas, rapid surveys located thousands in isolated communities, but reaching them again and again is tough. And what about the chance of the disease coming back?
That's the recrudescence problem. If interventions stop, or if there's movement of people, like displaced children in Mali, trachoma can reappear. Continuous surveillance and follow-up are crucial. But what lessons from eliminating trachoma can be applied to other neglected diseases?
The mapping projects made a big difference. Global Trachoma Mapping Project and Tropical Data used smartphones to track where the disease was, almost in real time. That meant interventions could be targeted. Now, similar methods are being used for diseases like schistosomiasis in the Philippines, with more advanced diagnostics. Is this data-driven approach the way forward for all neglected tropical diseases?
It does seem that way. Also, the focus on gender: 70% of TT surgeries and over half of antibiotics in 2023 went to women. Systematically monitoring and closing gender gaps is something other health programs are now trying to replicate. And the model of working with local leaders and healers, how widely can that be scaled?
In Colombia, education tools co-designed with communities led to real changes. Now, similar models are planned for 200 Amazonian communities. It's not just about top-down efforts, but true collaboration. Training local health workers and improving water and sanitation builds resilience, not just for trachoma, but for other diseases too. Will other programs follow this model?
They're beginning to. The Trachoma effort brought together governments, NGOs, donors, and pharmaceutical companies, especially through the International Coalition for Trachoma Control. By December 2025, 58 countries had eliminated at least one neglected tropical disease. The target is 100 by 2030, but will there be enough long-term investment and political support?
That's the big unknown. Still, this story shows what's possible. 94% reduction, millions spared from blindness, and a roadmap for tackling other entrenched diseases. The lesson: coordination, good data, and community partnership work.
We've seen that even the toughest diseases can be controlled with the right mix of science, commitment, and community action. For millions, it's not only about sight, but about dignity and opportunity.
Thanks for joining us. Today, hygiene games in the Amazon point to a global health milestone, but reaching the finish line will depend on continued investment, innovation, and partnership.
Thank you for listening. This episode was produced by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.